500 cigarettes.
What do me and an alarming amount of billionaire CEOs have in common? No, it's not financial stability or generational wealth or my name being on a list that it really shouldn't be on. No, what we have in common is the express desire to get the off this planet. But for real though, there's something about the boundless expanse of space that really stokes our imaginations. And while we'll probably never get to make that journey out into the void ourselves, we have a near endless amount of science fiction media to sink our Mountain Dew cavity-laden teeth into. One thing I've noticed about the space exploration genre is how repetitive it can get if the gameplay isn't varied enough. Variety is the spice of life, so when a game offers nothing but a boundless expanse of reskinned planets, it's pretty much the video game equivalent to boiled, unseasoned chicken. Unfortunately, No Man's Sky on release fell right into that category perfectly, offering players virtually infinite planets to explore while also skimping out on a ton of features that were planned for launch. What was left for us was an incredibly repetitive gameplay loop of brainless mining and flying to different near-identical planets. And I'll be honest, when I hopped into Elite Dangerous, I was expecting a similar experience. With its developers touting a massive one-to-one recreation of our Milky Way galaxy, I was skeptical on whether or not the gameplay held up. It's been almost a decade since the game was released by Frontier Developments, and it's gotten some massive updates since. So with more updates planned for the future, it felt like now was the perfect time to get in and see what the game was all about. The basic premise of Elite Dangerous is quite simple. It offers a massive, expansive, open-world MMO space simulation, in which players can explore a one-to-one recreation of the Milky Way. Set in the year 3300, it's a game that offers a lot of avenues for players to progress. You can harvest valuable minerals from asteroids as a space miner, engage in PvE or PvP combat as a bounty hunter or a ruthless outlaw. You can work the trade routes as a merchant, buying and selling valuable cargo. Or you can set out away from the bubble of civilization into the unknown, discovering new solar systems and mapping out new planets. The game has a constantly updating economy along with an intricate faction system to keep its world feeling alive. When you first hop into Elite Dangerous, the game will offer you a brief tutorial, one that scratches the surface on accepting and completing missions along with some basic ship handling. After that though, you're thrown into the first ship that you'll own. For most players that don't shell out real world money, that will be the Sidewinder, a cheap ship that can be outfitted for almost any activity that a beginner would need. Now, I had bought the game for around $10, so I decided why not, I'll shell out a bit more for a pre-built, and in some ways I wish I hadn't done that. I got the Vulture Bounty Hunting Kit, an amazing ship for early game combat, but honestly not a great ship for anything else. As a result, I found myself in a loop, accepting bounty contracts and hunting down pirates, and while feeling like Boba Fett was really cool, it kinda got repetitive. Not only that, but bounty hunting was not exactly the most profitable trade in the galaxy. So I saved up for a cargo ship, and after some research and using an incredibly helpful website named Inara, I found some profitable trade routes and grinded them for hours, making millions upon millions of credits. And while that was incredibly profitable, I also got kind of bored. There's only so much fun to be had from taking cargo from one station, jumping a few star systems, and delivering it to another station. At that point, I had enough to buy and kit out a ship designed for exploring the unknown void of our galaxy, so that's exactly what I did. Like I said before, Elite Dangerous contains a one-to-one representation of our galaxy, and I truly did not understand the real scale of that until I set out on my voyage. Warping from star system to star system for hours, only to check the map and see that I barely traversed a tiny fraction of the galaxy. What's really cool is that so far, only about 0.07% of the galaxy has been explored by the player base. This means that we as a player base have the opportunity to discover new star systems, new planets, and moons. You could be the first to warp into a new solar system, or map and land on a habitable exoplanet. All the data obtained from each solar system and planet that you discover can then be sold, provided you make it back to civilization successfully, giving you a decent amount of credits and stamping your username on that discovery for every other player to see. It's an incredibly cool concept, one that encourages a real feeling of space exploration and discovery. But of course, Elite Dangerous isn't just a solo experience. It's an MMO with a very unique multiplayer system and community where players can interact in cooperative or competitive ways. Throughout my time in Elite Dangerous, I had been intercepted by real players, essentially role-playing as space pirates trying to steal my and I'd either have to let them take some of my cargo or defend myself from them. Usually, I would just run. And on the other hand, there's an entire player faction called the Fuel Rats. Incredibly kind-hearted players who go out of their way to help other players who have run out of fuel and find themselves stranded. By the way, if you plan on making a long journey, you should always always attach a fuel scoop to your ship. This allows you to scoop fuel from any hydrogen-producing star. Anyway, there's also a power play system where players can join one of 12 different factions, each with their own political belief and rewards. Every contract you do for your faction advances their influence and territory within the core systems in the galaxy. This serves to make the civilized core systems feel more alive. Each system has their own economy, politics, and you can earn or tarnish your reputation with them based on your actions. This makes each populated system feel dynamic and unique from one another. This may sound like a lot to take in, but I promise you, I've barely even scratched the surface of what Elite Dangerous has to offer. It's a game with an incredibly steep learning curve, one that demands your time and attention to learn its intricate systems. But once you finally do, the payoff is immense. Finally being able to afford that endgame ship and kitting it out, or buying your own fleet carrier, is a very rewarding feeling. Hell, even getting my ship to land perfectly for the first time felt amazing. And while some aspects of the game can feel a little grindy, especially unlocking endgame upgrades like the Guardian ship parts, the payoff feels very worth it. It's a game I wouldn't hesitate to recommend to anyone who's looking to scratch that space traversal itch. Anyone who wants a realistic feeling space simulator. This is absolutely the game for you. While the game is a decade old, it is still being updated. With new updates in the horizon, it feels like the perfect time to get into Elite Dangerous. If you do pick up this game though, I would strongly recommend the Odyssey expansion as well, as it adds the ability to exit your ship and explore planets on foot. It's not something you'll do often, but planting your feet on an undiscovered planet hundreds of light years away from the bubble is just a really cool feeling. If you've played or heard of Elite Dangerous, I'd love to know your thoughts. What's your favorite way to play? Let me know in the comments, and I'll leave it at that. See ya.